The word timber refers to the wood used for construction. It is derived from an Old English word, timbrian, which means to build. As you know, timber is a very common construction material. So when it is cut, when you've removed the branches and you have transported it to a suitable area, it is called a log. So when these logs are seasoned and converted to planks, battens, posts, beams, etc., then we call it converted timber. This converted timber is what we use during construction of trusses, of frames, door frames, any other application that you can think of in construction. So how does it grow and what is its cellular structure? So a tree can be divided into 3 portions. So I want you to imagine a tree as it's growing. The topmost, where it is composed of branches and leaves, it is called a crown. And then we have the trunk, and then we have the roots, which are below the soil. The trunk accounts for about 80% of the total bark of wood. So this trunk is what is used in construction. It is what is converted into the various items that I had mentioned before. So the structure of timber, visible to the naked eye, is called macrostructure. But then we have the other structure which is very small that you cannot see with the naked eye. It is called the microstructure. The macrostructure of timber can be cut into 3 directions: in the cross-sectional and radial ducts. I'll show you a figure of this cross-section shortly. So the following are the main parts of a tree when it is cut in cross-section. We have the bark, the cambium, the sapwood, the heartwood, and the pith. Let me show you a picture of the same so that you can understand where just a minute. Yeah, there we are. I hope you can see that cross section. There's the outer bark, the inner bark, the cambium, the sapwood, the medulla res, the heartwood, and the pith. So note this section, because I'm going to ask you in a cut or an exam to draw a section of timber and to name the parts and even to know their functions. So we'll look at their functions next. If you see, before we go to the functions, if you look at this first diagram, there are rings that are going round, like they're called the growth rings. These growth rings are very important in a tree because they help us to know the age of a tree. Every year, as the tree grows, it grows wider and wider, and you can tell a tree how old it is by the number of these growth rings. So that is an important point to note. So what are the functions of these components? The outermost part, as you can see, is called the bark. So the bark protects the wood against mechanical damage. Its inner layer, called the bast, conveys the nutrients from the crown downwards and stores them. So we all know that in a tree, the leaves manufacture food. So after they have manufactured food for the tree, then it needs to be transported to the other parts of the tree. So that is what the bast does. It conveys the nutrients and it also stores them. Then the function of the cambium is to grow wood cells on the inside and smaller cells on the outside. So it grows both inwards and outwards. Then we have the sapwood. It assists the life process of a tree. by storing up starch and conducting sap. The cells in the sapwood are active. So if you cut up a fresh tree, if you cut it up in the cross section, you'll see that part where we have moisture or the active part of the tree. It is live, so it has some moisture, some water. You'll see it seeping out. That is the sapwood. Then you have the heartwood. It gives a strong and firm support to the tree. With the growth of the tree, the cells in the inner portion of the trunk gradually become inactive and lifeless, but they do not decay. So this is the portion that is called the heartwood. They are inactive. So as opposed to the sapwood, they are inactive, while the sapwood, they are active cells. So that is another point to note. I might ask you, what is the difference between sapwood and heartwood? Again, so we have at the centermost. I don't know when you observe this section whether you can see it, the pith. Let me just show you this innermost part. Usually when you look at it in reality, it is dark, this innermost, the pith. So it is a small area occupied by friable tissues consisting of thin-walled, closely connected cells. So in a felled tree, the pith, that part that easily crumbles and rots is the pith. Okay, I hope you got that. And then in the cross-sectional direction, nutrients pass from bast to the heart through groups of cells running at right angles to the cambium layers. So what are these? These are the medulla rays. They are at right angles to the cambium layer. Okay, I hope that is clear. We've learned about the cross-section of the tree, the parts that are in it, and their functions. Is there any question up to there? Do you have any question? So if there is no question, I don't know why my screen is not moving to the next slide. Just a minute, yeah. So I can introduce briefly the next topic. We are going to start, in the next topic, we are going to start seasoning of timber. You know, when you have cut your tree, you cannot use it for construction immediately. There's something you have to do to it. So the process of reducing moisture in a freshly cut tree to the desired level is what we call seasoning, a very important step when we are converting timber. So I want to leave you with an assignment. So when it comes to the next lesson, I want you to research on the methods of seasoning. Then we will discuss further. We will learn how it is done. There's natural seasoning and artificial seasoning. So I want you to research on boiling. How do we season by boiling? How do we season by kiln seasoning? How do we season by chemical seasoning and electrical seasoning? So I want you in groups of 5 to email your answers to my email address as shown in the slide. So if there's no other question, then we can call it a day, and have a good day. Goodbye.
Sijaona ukiinvolve fulana. Unauliza maswali.
Unajua?
Umekuwa teacher centered.
Kwa teacher centered.